Will the Bushiris ever be shepherded back to South Africa to stand trial? The pastor and his wife Mary were arrested with 3 others on fraud charges amounting to millions of rand before the couple made a dramatic escape to Malawi in 2020. This hasn't stopped Bushiri from delivering sermons as he fights attempts to be extradited back to South Africa. For the latest on the case, we're joined by Pule Jones now. Pule, what's the latest on getting the Bushiris back to South Africa to answer for their alleged crimes?
Well, there's still a lot that's been going on. I mean, this stems from last year, 8 March 2021, when the pair first appeared in court in Malawi, in Lilongwe, and one of the first things that they tried to do was to have the magistrate in that court recused, but that failed. And then secondly, they had said that through their council that SADC, the state was using SADC law in Malawi, which was not allowed, and that application was further dismissed. But then again, they went on to try and say they want transcripts of the illegal court proceedings that had taken place in South Africa, and that was, of course, granted. From there onwards, they went to apply for the move of having witnesses come and testify in Malawi. And while that application was successful, the state of Malawi then decided to go to the chief magistrate to say that cannot be the case, and that the witnesses must, appear through a video link or audio. That application was then dismissed. What then happened is that the chief magistrate then took the matter to the High Court in Malawi, which is what we're now waiting for. Answers as to when that date and court proceedings will then commence, because what the state was saying is that it cannot be that witnesses appear in the court, but rather to have them appear through a video link or, of course, something virtual where they can testify before the court in Malawi.
What's been happening with the Bushiris in the meantime?
Well, I mean, they've been having crossovers as well, like we've seen one on Facebook through their links. Seems as though it's business as usual in their hometown. But what I've also tried to do is track some of the witnesses, which, of course, we had, of course, been in communication with since about 2020. You'd remember that we first brought you the story where we broke it, where witnesses had alleged that they had been, of course, raped by the self-proclaimed prophet Bushiri before he had fled the country. And what it is right now is that they had actually told me that they would not be heading to Malawi because they cite that they fear their safety might be in jeopardy if that's the case. And now they're pinning their hopes on the fact that the application which has been brought by the chief magistrate in Malawi through the high courts can be successful, so they can rather testify through a virtual or video link to try and avoid going into the country. Now, that's a matter that we're all still waiting for. That's a matter the Department of Justice is also still waiting for. But legal analysts have also weighed in, saying that they're hoping that this date can come through, and that this is not only a delay tactics to further avoid the prosecution of the Bushiris. Now, you'd remember that the Bushiris have also confirmed that they will not be coming into the country, or will try by all means to fight the extradition process, citing their safety reasons, saying that they will not be receiving a fair trial in the country if the extradition process in accordance to the SADC protocols were to be successful. But of course, the Department of Justice is saying that is not the case, and that the pair would receive a fair trial like any other prisoner in the country.
I remember, Pule, when the Bushiris escaped the country, we were left scratching our heads, wondering how it is they managed to slip through the hands of law enforcement. What's the progress been there?
Well, Tafuma, when that happened actually was on a weekend. I was making my way back home when I just received a call that was the case, and that they had actually fled the country. And you remember that I think it was the president who had a visit here in the country, and there was a lot of speculation as to how they would have fled the country. And there was also allegations of whether they were assisted by some of the head of states from their country in Malawi. But they still haven't been, concluded answers process as to how would the pair have had to flee the country. And while that's the case, we do know that also in South Africa, where they were supposed to be, attending their money laundering and fraud case, the matter has continuously been postponed, while other, accused who were involved in this incident have kept on appearing before some of those court proceedings. So for it is right now, it still remains quite bleak, and we are of the view that authorities in South Africa are doing all they can take to try and extradite the pair. But as it is right now, we do know that this matter is in the hands of the Malawian authorities to ensure that there can be a successful extradition process. And while that's been the case, Afuma, legal analysts have also made it quite clear that usually these extradition processes take quite some time. And if the state, or rather, sorry, if the council is trying to delaying tactics to try and ensure that the pair is not extradited, then this matter could just take even years before the pair can be brought to South Africa and face the music.
In the meantime, like you said, it seems like it's business as usual for the Bushiris. They seem to be sitting pretty. Pule, thank you so much for that update. Our reporter, Pule Luchiti-Jones, giving us the latest on extraditing the Bushiris, Shepherd and Mary, from Malawi back to South Africa to answer for their alleged crimes.